Hello there. It is my intention that this can be a channel to not only showcase my worlds, but help you realize your own, with minimal hit to cost, resources, and schedule. Someone once told me that characters are the vehicles by which you explore your world, and with this in mind, we're going to try to look at creating some for free. There are many options out there for making humanoid characters. However, for this one, we're going to just focus on using Makehuman, Mixamo, and of course, Blender. While this isn't a tutorial on how to use either of these applications, I'll try my best to briefly explain how they apply to this workflow. And keep in mind, this is mainly for humanoid characters. For the first step in our character workflow, go ahead and download and install Makehuman 1.2.0. This is where we're going to define the base mesh for our humanoid character. If it's not included, go ahead and download the MPFB2 Blender extension. We'll need this later on, as it's how we're going to get our models into Blender. By the way, all of these resources will be linked in the video description. Alright, let's get started with the general overview of Makehuman. So on the top, we'll have these various icons for saving, loading, undoing, redoing. This is the reset button. You don't want to press this after you finish modeling your character and you haven't saved them, because this will reset to your default character. These right here edit the shading, so like how your character looks. Right now we're looking at it with textures, okay, but you can, display it with a smooth modifier, etc. These are the mirroring tools, okay. Typically when I do my modeling, I recommend you have this item on, so any modification you make to one side of the body also happens to the other. And of course, you have your standard views. All right, you tend to start off with this androgynous humanoid person thingy. um, let's go ahead into the actual tabs that define Makehuman. So these 10 tabs are where the majority, of the functions for Makehuman are. First, we have the File tab, which shows all of your previous characters that you've designed and saved. All right, it's divided between load, save, and export. You have the Modeling tab, which is where you're likely going to be spending most of your time. This allows you to actually model your character utilizing these sliders, which are kind of work like shape keys. Okay. Note for each slider, there are different categories for them too. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All right. For each slider, they all have different categories that will definitely affect the items that appear in this little menu here. So just do keep that in mind. Okay. Arms, legs, random allows you to just make a random character. Custom is for custom targets, and measuring is if you want to design your character utilizing measurements. All right. This is probably where you're going to spend most of your time actually modeling your character and determining their facial features and their makeup, etc. So this is the Geometries tab. This is where you define things like extra meshes that you add to your character, or if you want to change the properties of the base meshes. So you can add extra clothes. You can change the eyes from high poly to low poly if you would like. You can add hair to your characters, teeth, topologies, like determine if you want them to be, a very high detailed topology or one optimized for their gender, or etc. Eyebrows, eyelashes, and tongue. This is just basically for extra shapes, all right? Materials tends to be for applying different materials to some of the topologies. So like if you want to change the color of the character's skin or eyes, or different clothes that you may have downloaded from the asset browser. For pose and animate, this is where you apply different poses or expressions to your character, okay? If you want to export a character for use in a game engine, you can also apply different rigs here too, by the way. All right. For our workflow, we will not be using any rigs. All right. This is where you also, actually apply poses for your character. For us, we're going to, for this workflow, I do recommend utilizing the T-pose asset here. Do not use the one that you actually get on the from the community store. All right, just use this one. Speaking of the community store, so one more tab, these four right here, you probably won't use much, but this community tab right here is where you actually can add and download more geometries from the Makehuman community, like geometries, different like actual targets or sliders to modify different portions of the human body. So you can look for assets like poses, clothes, targets, etc. Right? When you first get here, you won't see anything. You're going to have to synchronize the asset database. I do strongly recommend doing that so you can get access to the most amount of items. All right. Until you do that and download some new assets, your um, selection of clothing may not look like mine. I downloaded these prior. All right. But I do strongly recommend you synchronize the asset database. Once you do that, you can, search for other clothing and you can click this button to download. And when you go back to your Geometries tab, it should appear in this list right here. All right. So that's the majority of this program here. So I do encourage you to go ahead and, spend some time uh, designing a character. Okay. And then do ensure that you apply this T-pose right here to them. And do ensure that when you do have a character with clothing that, like the legs, okay, are not crossing, especially, or like the arms are not like connecting to each other. All right, because that was an issue, and that's why I'm against using this one, because you can't have situations like this. All right, so go ahead, utilize this T-pose asset, create your character, and we want to start off with ensure that you have a basic neutral expression. So make sure that's none. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and move over to Blender. One more thing, actually. There's this option right here that says hide faces under clothes. We want to uncheck that, okay? Because we want to make sure that all of our characters' geometry and mesh data actually exists, okay? So do ensure that you have this deselected, all right? So go ahead and happy modeling, all right? For me, I actually already created a character, this basic soldier character guy. I'm gonna load him in, all right? And I'll continue the tutorial with this guy, all right? All right, on to Blender.